Hello, hello. Welcome back to Expansive Astrology with Melissa O'Malley. We are in Sagittarius season, week 2. This is the week that I tell you all about how Sagittarius is reflected or related to the tarot, just to help really further our understanding of what Sagittarius is, what the energies are all about, how we can make sure we are empowering ourselves when it comes to these themes and these energies, how to just engage with this season even more fully. The tarot provides such a beautiful framework, such a beautiful way of looking at the world and the experiences that we collectively experience, the experiences that we have collectively and individually, and um, uh, again, just how to use this time, how to engage with Sagittarius season even more fully, even more powerfully, even more effectively. So today I'm going to share with you about the Temperance card, the Wheel of Fortune, and the suit of the suit of wands, the suit of aces. No, the suit of wands. So let's start with Temperance. Temperance is the card that follows death. So if you didn't see last season's tarot video, go check it out. Scorpio season, week 2. I talked about the death card, the tower card, and more. And temperance comes right after death. It's fitting, right? So on this card, we see an image of an angel. And this card is often compared to like an ethereal experience of holiness and the afterlife. And in Soul Centered Tarot, which is the tarot that I most engage with by Lindsay Mack, in Soul Centered Tarot, temperance is more about our willingness to be a vessel rather than the driver. It's about being willing to co-create with something bigger and more powerful than you. This is the experience of learning that we can live in connection with the soul rather than ego. So we had Scorpio season, we had the death card, where hopefully we were able to really let go of shit that's not serving us anymore, and versions of ourselves that aren't authentic or organic or true. And now we get to live from an even more soul-based, more authentic space. Temperance invites us to explore what it would mean for us to structure our lives in a way that is in alignment with the soul, in a way that is more connected, more tuned in, more in rhythm with the soul, rather than with capitalism or ego or other cultural expectations or whatever the fuck we've been conditioned to structure our lives around. Temperance initiates us out of our egoic experience and into further alignment with what our soul wants, what our destiny is. And this requires a way of interacting with the brain and so that it is no longer in the driver's seat, so that it's no longer in complete control, which means touching in with our hearts and living from a soul-centered perspective. Now, we've already done work on this last season. We've already worked on turning down the volume on our brain and turning the volume up on our soul, right? We're taking that even further. We're taking that even further with Sagittarius. Think of all the ways that we're trained not to do that. Trained of all the ways think of all the ways that we're trained to live from a very egoic, very brain-based place. All the ways we're trained to neglect our gut feeling and to escape discomfort. The ways that we're trained to put ourselves last in order not to disappoint others. To live from a truly soul-centered place is fucking hard and usually requires a whole lot of change to what we've been doing, which is often why we don't even want to go there in the first place. The change can be totally overwhelming. I hear it all the time. Well, if I started sticking up for myself, if I started demanding that I be treated the way I deserve to be treated, there would be nobody left. I would have to start from scratch. Clients tell me that sort of thing all the time, right? When we desire to live from a very soul centered place, a whole lot needs to change. It means acknowledging our privilege where we have it. It means adjusting our relationships. It means adjusting how we show up on a day to day basis in our routines. Living from the soul requires checking in with ourselves over and over and over again. Like, is, is this what's best for me? Is this what I want? Is this in alignment with my purpose and my goals and my values? Is this relationship something that I should continue to engage in? Is this thing, whatever it may be, that I've been investing in and relying upon and so sure of, is this thing actually in alignment for my soul? And that checking in process is it brings up some shit, right? To fully honor our soul's yeses and nos, even when the brain, our culture, our family, capitalism, even when those things might disagree, it's fucking difficult. There's, this is not, and so this is not about the times that we're truly stuck in something. Some of us are truly stuck where we are for any number of reasons, and we can't, like let's honor that stuckness, whether it's a relationship or a job or a home or whatever. But this is about those things, the things that exist and the cycles that exist that we can change, that we can get out of, that we don't. For whatever reason, we don't. So this is not about like taking down capitalism and taking down the patriarchy, right? Like we exist where we do, and sometimes we're just stuck there. Sometimes we don't have an option right now. Sometimes we don't have a whole lot of control over where we are right now. But temperance is, and what I'm talking about here is about those things that we can change. Those things that we do have power over, but for whatever reason, we stay where we are. We stay stuck. And there can be a million reasons for that. Temperance brings us into a new way of being. It reminds us that somewhere along the way, we've let go of something big, right? Some story or belief has shifted and changed or left us entirely. And that's that death process. And now, without it, we have this new space to receive what it is our soul actually wants and needs. When we let go and let die the things that we don't want and need and that aren't actually working for us, we create so much more space to receive what we do need, what our soul actually does need. This is a Sagittarius style journey of self-betterment, where we're continually checking in and asking, asking ourselves, asking our soul, asking our guides, what do I need to know? What am I being called to see or do or look at? What am I willing to see or do? Or am I willing to see or do or look at this? Telling yourself, I am willing. What am I being called to see? I am willing, I am open to it, even if it's not what I think I want right now. It's an important caveat. Like, we have to be open to receiving what is for us, even if our ego, our fear, our brain is like questioning it or not totally on board or totally afraid. Lindsay Mack says, it's as though temperance reminds us, I do have all of these gifts and all of these potencies and all of this power in me. And I also recognize that I can only get so far without that essential part of me, without the soul, without a connection to my wildness, without a connection to what's possible. This is a reminder of where we're going after letting go, after some loss. This is a reminder that we can only get so far without that integral piece of us, our soul, living from a soul-based place. So some of the symbolism on the Temperance card, we see an angel. We see that the person, the angel, the being, is standing both on the rocks and the water, which would be it's not human. It would we would slip. And the angle that they're pouring the water, which is like life force, from one cup to another at an impossible angle. The physics don't line up. Pointing to this being's magic. Next, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which I've spoken about earlier this year. The Wheel of Fortune, which is ruled by Jupiter. I have to double check because I can't trust, I can't trust pregnancy brain. So I have to double check that I was right. Yes, the Wheel of Fortune is ruled by Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, which is why we're talking about the Wheel of Fortune today. The Wheel of Fortune is all about finding our center so that we can be present with and surrender to changes as they occur. This is a card that has us ask, even when things are very unclear, how do we show up and respond from a sense of centeredness? This card is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is expansion. Yes, it's all, Jupiter is all about like expansion. This invites us into an act of choosing to surrender. This is about rewilding our sense of time, moving from a place that is not so egoic. It's quite a Sagittarius theme, eh? Moving from a place that's not so egoic, where we know we have no control, really, like acknowledging the fact that we do not truly have control. We know that things are unfolding in ways that we can't possibly control, no matter how hard we try. So the Wheel of Fortune is an invitation to come back to the center in the midst of great change. This is rewilding our sense of what time is, where we don't attach to the future or to the past or to time at all. We're learning to work with our circumstances without gripping for control. You have a choice, realizing that you have a choice. You can either try to grip the wheel and steer the wheel according to what you think you need, or you can release control of the wheel and watch it all unfold around you from a centered, soul-centered, trusting place. So we're still taking personal responsibility. That image of like letting go of the wheel can kind of be pretty fucking activating, maybe even triggering. This isn't about like letting go of personal responsibility. This is taking personal responsibility and sitting in receptivity rather than willfulness and like strife. How do we work with resistance, with control and surrender and unknowing and trust? Remember that you are meant to exist in the center of the wheel where it's less bumpy. You are able to be present with whatever is here, even if the brain is inviting you into a whole bunch of contraction and questioning and freaking out and fearing. We're able to be with what is here. You can handle what is here, even if you have no control over it. You can recenter yourself. We're meant to be in the center of the wheel. We're not meant to be gripping and controlling. We're able to be present with whatever is presented, even if we're totally freaking out, which is valid. Totally valid. This is not about getting rid of that brain function of fear and freaking out and keeping us safe. Like, we want our brains to do that. It's about allowing that and surrendering and remaining centered, and how we engage with that resistance, how we cope with that. Did I say resistance? I meant to say resistance. How we cope with that resistance. So when we're in Wheel of Fortune energy, we can say to ourselves, whoa, there's a lot happening. There's an expansion coming for me, and I don't need to know. I do not need to know. I don't need to know. I don't need to know the details. I don't need to know what this is going to look like. I don't need to know how it's going to unfold and how I'm going to handle it. I don't need to know. In fact, it's safest to never presume to know what is going on or what this card is coming up for. It's an opportunity to outgrow this idea of needing to know, to try to outgrow trying to control everything. It's an opportunity to truly learn to trust the timing of our lives. We've all had these moments. Think of a time when you thought you knew exactly what it was you needed or wanted, and then life handed you something completely different, and 100 times better. And the opposite has certainly been true for us at times too, where you thought you needed to know, and what was you thought you knew exactly what it was you wanted, and then life handed you something totally different. And maybe it didn't feel better than what you thought you wanted. And even those really painful things that we've gone through, they've gotten us here, right? The Wheel of Fortune reminds us that there is no separation between the divine and daily mundane tasks. What does it look like to be in the center of our wheel, no matter what is going on around us in the day to day? It's those times we're asking, what is in front of me that I don't want to deal with? Or just what is in front of me? What is inside of me right now that maybe I don't want to deal with? How can I be with these things anyway? What am I resisting? What am I trying to control? How can I deal with these things a little better? How can I maintain a sense of centeredness no matter what is going on within and around me? How can I maintain a sense of centeredness even when my brain is totally freaked out about what is or is not happening within and around me? Chai break. So some symbolism in the card. We see the 4 fixed signs of astrology: Taurus, the bull; Aquarius, represented by the angel; Scorpio, the eagle; and Leo, the lion. On the wheel, a snake is moving to the left, symbolizing the perpetual growing and shedding that happens in this life. The god of the dead, and involving the afterlife, keeping us moving on in the life, death, rebirth cycle. The Sphinx holding a sword, symbol of air. The sword is the symbol of air, a keeper of truth, knowledge, and mysteries. And in the middle of the wheel, we see the alchemical symbols for salt, mercury, sulfur, and water, which are the building blocks of life. A whole lot of rich symbolism in the Wheel of Fortune card. I really, really appreciate the invitations that Sagittarius brings to us. Just this really radical relearning of how to live from an even more organic, soul-centered, authentic, fearless place. Not to say that fear won't exist and fear won't be happening here, right? But we're learning, like, we're learning how to live with that fear, act despite that fear. Love it. So pretty briefly, the Suit of Wands, because wands are fire and Sagittarius is fire energy. I'm just gonna kind of hold them up and go through them. The Suit of Wands is all about the act of being alive, moving with our messiness, embracing our power, getting our hands in the dirt. It's about passion and drive and creativity. Like living this life, doing the damn thing. Growth through uncomfortable circumstances. The Suit of Wands asks, what are we offering our energy and our time to? What are we devoting ourselves to? When we think of the energy of fire, it takes a whole lot of balance and respect to work with fire. Right? We can control and contain the flame, and we have to do so very expertly, or wildfires. Takes a lot of balance and respect to effectively work with fire. So remember that you have a right to honor your fire. I think a lot of times our passion, our anger, our fire within is is looked down upon a lot of the times. So you have a right to engage with that fire, to have a relationship with your fire. Explore how you work with your fire, your power, your energy. Are you more of a candle or are you more of a bonfire? Do you know when to rest and take breaks, when to tone it down? Do you know how to play and refill your energy? Checking in with all of those factors that are necessary when we're creating or working with fire, checking in with all of the factors related to creating fire. The foundation, the materials, the air, the earth that we might be using or affecting. The wands are about working with our root system and not allowing burnout. This energy asks, how do you move through the world? Honoring your pace and your frequency. It's about autonomous growth. As with like the theme of Sagittarius energy, these cards ask how to live in alignment with what's in our highest and best interest. How we engage. So that's the Suit of Wands. Powerful, powerful, powerful cards. Love. And that's the tarot lesson for Sagittarius season. I am obsessed with this energy. I'm obsessed with the ways that it is related to and like improving upon, well, maybe not improving, but just enhancing, like furthering the work that we've already done so far this year, and especially in Scorpio season. I'm like obsessed with how perfectly it follows Scorpio season. And then, I mean, really, this sets us up in such a beautiful way to step into Capricorn season, where things are going to get a little more serious. A little bit. I really hope that this served. If you enjoy what I'm doing here with expansive astrology, it would mean the world to me to have you subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what stands out to you, what you're most excited about when it comes to Sagittarius season and using these energies. Let me know what your understanding is of these energies and these cards and these tarot cards. Let me know. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again for being here. I hope that this served. Take really good care of yourself. Take care. I'll see you next time.